Riyadh, Saudi Arabia has suspended chats on possibly normalizing attaches with Israel, a source told AFP on Saturday, as the conflict seethed among Israel and the Palestinian assailant bunch Hamas. Hamas sent off an enormous scope assault on Israel on October 7 which killed 1,300 individuals, starting a retaliatory bombarding effort that has killed something like 2,215 in the Gaza Strip, before a potential Israeli ground attack of the domain. Saudi Arabia has chosen to stop conversation on conceivable standardization and has informed U.S. authorities, a source acquainted with the conversations told AFP. The source talked that very day U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met in Riyadh with his Saudi partner, Sovereign Faisal Receptacle Faran, on the most recent stop on a six-country visit through the locale. After that gathering, the Saudi Unfamiliar Service required a quick truce in Gaza and its environmental factors and the critical conveyance of philanthropic guide. Ruler Faisal correspondingly censured non-military personnel setbacks in the wake of meeting with Blinken on Saturday. It's an upsetting circumstance. It's an undeniably challenging circumstance. Furthermore, the essential victim of this present circumstance are regular citizens and non-military personnel. Populaces on the two sides are being impacted, he said. Blinken, as far as it matters for him, featured endeavors to lay out safe regions in Gaza as well as a passage with the goal that philanthropic help can contact individuals who need it. Not even one of us need to see enduring by regular folks on any side, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in Gaza, whether it's elsewhere, and we're cooperating to give our all to safeguard them, he said. Blinken likewise met in Abu Dhabi with UAE President Mohammed Receptacle Zayed Al Nahyan. The two men accentuated the pressing need to open helpful passageways to work with the conveyance of clinical and alleviation help to the Gaza Strip, notwithstanding a quick discontinuance of threats, as indicated by Emirati state news organization WAM. Likewise, Blinken approached China, an accomplice of Iran, to capitalize on its leverage to push for quiet in the Center East after Hamas aggressors struck Israel. The top U.S. negotiator had a useful one-hour call with Chinese unfamiliar priest Wang Yi, State Office Representative Matthew Mill operator said. Our message was that he believes it's to our greatest advantage to prevent the contention from spreading, Mill operator told correspondents on Blinken's plane from Riyadh to Abu Dhabi. He figured it very well may be valuable if China would take advantage of its leverage. China has a warm relationship with Iran, whose administrative initiative backings Hamas. Wang, as far as concerns him, said that the U.S. ought to assume a helpful and capable part, pushing the issue in the groove again for a political settlement as quickly as time permits, as per a readout distributed by the Chinese Unfamiliar Service. While managing worldwide problem area issues, significant nations should comply to objectivity and decency, keep up with smoothness and restriction, and start to lead the pack in maintaining global regulation, said Wang. The Chinese unfamiliar priest added that Beijing required the gathering of a worldwide harmony meeting straightaway to advance the coming to of expansive agreement. The principal source for the Palestinian issue lies in executing a two-state arrangement, said Wang. In a different call, Saudi unfamiliar pastor Sovereign Faisal Container Faran told Wang that China ought to involve its situation as a super durable individual from the UN Security Chamber to push for a prompt end of military tasks in Gaza, as per the Saudi Unfamiliar Service. In the interim, Iran said it was as yet conceivable to forestall a territorial overflow of Israel's conflict with Islamist bunch Hamas, however cautioned that there was just no time to spare. Unfamiliar priest Hossein Amir Abdallahan talked from the Lebanese capital Beirut. There is as yet a political chance to forestall a broad emergency in the district, Amir Abdallahan told a question-and-answer session in Beirut after stops in Baghdad and Damascus. However, perhaps, in the following couple of hours, it will be past the point of no return, he said, cautioning that supportive of Iran aggressors have planned every one of the situations and are ready, and their finger is on the trigger to shoot. During stops in Damascus and Baghdad somewhat recently, Amir Abdallahan didn't preclude the chance of an acceleration that could bring its provincial partners into the Israeli-Hamas war. In a connected turn of events, the European Commission said it will quickly significantly increase helpful help for Gaza. That is an extra 50 m, 43 pounds euros in helpful guide for a sum of 75 euros. A senior Israeli authority conceded botches in knowledge evaluations in front of a fierce Hamas assault last end of the week that overwhelmed the country. It's my mix-up, and it mirrors the slip-ups of every one of those making knowledge evaluations, Public Safety Counsel Zachi Hanigby told a press instructions when gotten some information about his new comments foreseeing no Hamas hostility. We truly accepted that Hamas gained the illustration from its last significant conflict with Israel in 2021, Hanigby said. Hanigby dismissed discussions towards any detainee trade manage Hamas. Simultaneously, the Israeli safeguard powers made an announcement a brief time prior, saying their powers are getting ready to grow their procedure on the ground. It said they plan a hostile including air, ocean, and land powers, as indicated by this new assertion. It additionally cautioned Palestinians to escape the northern Gaza Strip before a normal enormous scope ground hostile against Hamas. One airstrike killed Ali Qadi, portrayed as an organization leader of the Hamas Nukba commando force engaged with the remarkable assault, the military said. In excess of 320 Palestinians have been killed in the beyond 24 hours, including numerous ladies and kids killed in Israeli air assaults on caravans escaping Gaza City, as per well-being authorities. AFP columnists on the edges of the southern Israeli city of Darrow saw troops hit northern Gaza with outside airstrikes sending immense crest of thick dark smoke very high. Upwards of 70 individuals were killed after Israeli airstrikes hit escorts of Palestinian evacuees traveling south in Gaza. Likewise, Israeli shelling killed 2 Lebanese regular citizens in the southern town of Shabaa, its city hall leader told AFP. A few 1 million individuals, almost a portion of the number of inhabitants in 2.4 million, live in the north of Gaza, and help organizations have said compelling them to move is a difficulty as the conflict seethes. Hamas boss Ismail Haniyeh encouraged Palestinians to dismiss dislodging inside the Gaza Strip or out of the barricaded area to Egypt, following Israeli airstrikes and calls to clear. No to dislodging from the West Bank, not from Gaza, and no to removal from Gaza to Egypt, Haniyeh said in a broadcast discourse. He blamed Israel for perpetrating atrocities in Gaza and impeding the stockpile of philanthropic guide. Gazans, who can't leave the territory as it is barred by both Israel and Egypt, have pressed whatever is possible into packs and bags, to walk through the rubble-flung roads. A flood of vehicles, trucks, three-wheeled vehicles and jackass-drawn trucks joined the unhinged mass development south, all stacked with families and their effects, sleeping pads, bedding and sacks tied onto the tops of stuffed vehicles. Streets in the 40-kilometer, 25-mile-long domain were stuck. Be that as it may, putting distance among individuals and the bombings had not dissipated dread. Likewise, help organizations, including the UN and Red Cross, in addition to a few unfamiliar representatives, have voiced worry about the possibility of the clearing plan. Bedouin Association boss Ahmed Abul Gait said Israel's organization was a constrained move that is a wrongdoing. As per the UN, in excess of 1,300 structures in Gaza have been obliterated, while nearby clinics have become overpowered with developing quantities of dead and harmed. Hamas has taken steps to kill the prisoners individually for each unannounced Israeli airstrike. A sum of 22 have proactively been killed in bombardments, the aggressor bunch said, without explaining. Egypt and Israel have consented to let U.S. residents leave the Gaza Strip through the Rafah crossing, a U.S. official going with Secretary of State Antony Blinken on a local visit told journalists. In any case, it was not promptly clear when the arrangement would be carried out. President Emmanuel Macron has encouraged Israel and Egypt to open a philanthropic haul out of the blockaded Gaza Strip through the Rafah crossing for French nationals, his office said. Macron had held chats with Israeli top state leader Benjamin Netanyahu and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, his office said. Paris had reached every one of those worried to attempt to guarantee that French nationals could cross out of the southern Gaza Strip and into Egypt, and that the intersection could likewise be utilized for philanthropic tasks to Gaza, said the articulation. In another turn of events, Turkish unfamiliar priest Hakan Fidan said close by his partner in Cairo said Turkey remains with Egypt in dismissing the exile of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip notwithstanding Israel's conflict with the Hamas aggressor bunch. In the meantime, Croatian president said Israel has lost my feelings. In a meeting, Zoran Milanovic said he doesn't identify with Israel on account of retaliation activities in Gaza and condemned show of Israeli banners in the country. Also, to talk about the conflict against Palestinians, the OIC has gathered exceptional gathering on October 18 in Jeddah.